Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of Hill Orc Fighter, here with Ultraviolent 4. We have made it to D10, despite the dungeon throwing some extremely unfair things at us in the early game. We met a D3 Crimson Imp with a Wand of Acid, we met a D2 Sigmund, a whole bunch of other quite scary things, but we're still here, we're still alive. We've managed to find Beogh. We've made it to 2 pips of piety, so we now have smiting. Very effective at all stages of the game, but especially if you've trained Imbo, which we are and will be until 27 skill. Very, very good at killing things. So really, we have no excuse for dying now, because if we die, we probably could have just killed the thing by smiting it to death. In saying that, I'm going to try not to use it until we at least make it to 3 pips of piety, because it's at that point where we can start converting orcs to our cause. So once we get to 3 pips, we start getting a bit of an army, then I'll be more than happy to spam it. And it is an ability you should be spamming. Here's a shadow. Can we fight a shadow? It's kind of scary. They do increase damage when they're unseen. Yeah, we probably can. I've just been saying we can smite anything to death. I feel like our character's pretty strong as well. And we got a shield. When you block their one attack, well, he struck us, but it's pretty, I imagine it would be pretty demoralizing for them. They do their whole invis thing and then you just block their one attack. I imagine it's kind of how juggernauts feel when you do it to them as well. They spend 4 turns building up their really strong punch and then you just block it. Anyway, these new scrolls we're just going to read. It's a scroll of noise and we hear a bunch of hisses, shouts, etc. So we want to head back to the upstairs just to wait and see what's coming. I'm going to yell. We don't really want to fight that centaur in the open, so I'm going to force it to come to us. Here's another Crimson Imp. I'm quite afraid of them now after that first one had a Wand of Acid. An ogre and a double-headed ogre. The 2-headed ogres are still red, and for quite a long time they're extremely dangerous. Especially if both of their swings land, they do gruesome amounts of damage. It could 2-shot us very easily. He's going to guard 2 of our 3 stairs, it looks like. Alright, a new book we get. It's a Book of Flames, that's not too exciting. It doesn't really help us too much in the late game, and we can't really cast things in the early game. We're not 3 pips of piety yet, so we can't convert orcs, although I'm kind of tempted to try to leave these guys alive. Well, we'll go kill 2 of them. Yeah, but the double-headed ogre is guarding the other stair, right? Yeah, so we don't have much choice. Bad luck, orcs. And just as I do that, we reach 3 pips of piety. Man, okay, well that's unfortunate. Oh, alright, well we can start converting now. Here's the 2-headed ogre. Take this hatch up, get away from him. In that case, it's a switch of the stairs which are dangerous. We're starving, let's not do that. If we could get any orcs with us, like this guy, he would help us a lot in fighting the ogre. Now, when you fight an orc, or when you're trying to convince them they're the Messiah, you get a couple of different chances to convert them. Your conversion chance depends on your piety level and your experience level, but you get a chance to convert them when they first see you, so we've failed this one, and then also a chance when they're going to die. When you inflict the killing blow, instead of dying and taking that damage, they might realize, hey, you're in fact the Messiah, in which case they'll convert. When that happens, if they're poisoned because you've been hitting them with a War Axe of Venom, they're going to tick out and die to the poison. So a Venom weapon, not so good if you're trying to convert, so we're going to switch to our Whip of Elec and fight him with that. We did not get him. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. I know that we've left an Orc Warrior upstairs. Maybe we should go try and get him. Maybe not. We'll go up in a bit. We'll try to build a little bit more piety. An amulet. We have identify. I'm just going to identify potion. I don't mind putting the amulet on. The only one that would be bad would be an amulet of harm. because anything like this, the Cursed Amulet of Inaccuracy, we'll just remove Curse It and get rid of it. Hey, here's our first Orc. Put back on our Amulet of Rage. So he's just a regular plain Orc, but he's going to be our first friend. It's always exciting. Here's a Priest. Alright, nice. So we've got 2 Orcs and a Priest. Here is our Orc, our Orcish Mines entrance. That's why we're finding all these Orcs. Okay, we've got a bunch. Here's now a Warrior with a Trident. If we could get him, this would be perfect. No. Okay, unfortunate. And a bunch of the Orcs killed each other. The reason why that Orc Warrior, and in fact the other one would be extremely good, is because you really want your Orcs to have polearms. This guy too, he didn't convert. Because it means that they won't get stuck behind you. You can tank for them, they can stand back, and then they can still attack. And they can reach over each other. So say you have an immense army where they can't all even fit around the enemy you're fighting. If they all have polearms, they can stand behind each other and you can get 2 rows of attacks. I'm going to pick up his Enchanted Trident. Could be cursed. It's a +3. Ultimately, once we start gifting stuff, then that's a weapon that we could give to an Orc to give them a polearm. So this plain Orc has already been upgraded to an Orc Warrior, but you see he still doesn't have the armor. So yeah, and with those friends, we have no problem taking down the 2-headed ogre. We get another wizard. Here's a Wand of Disintegration. Now, the thing is, with the priests and the wizards, don't worry too much about trying to keep them alive because it's very difficult to do. Especially if your wizard has blink, you're not keeping them alive. There's a 0% chance because they're gonna just blink into dumb situations and kill themselves. It's your regular Orcs that you care about. They're the ones that will ultimately become warlords. And they're the ones who are much more survivable. It is really nice if Orc priests become high priests and wizards become sorcerers, but I think it's better to think of that kind of like a bonus. That's not your aim. If you're trying and killing yourself to keep those guys alive, I think you're just gonna stress yourself a lot. So what I did here is I used TR to retreat command them back. So what's gonna happen is we've seen enemies, our Orcs are just gonna run in and try to fight, but we don't want to fight this many yaks in the open when we have a choke point here that we can force them through. So what I've done is the T command is orders for your allies. So I did TR to retreat them back. We're going to retreat back ourselves. Let the Orc go in. One more. Okay, good. Yeah, that wizard does indeed have blink. And now that we're in the choke point, I'm going to do T and F to follow me, which will also essentially say attack. And in fact, before we're doing this, I'm going to set up a couple of macros that I use a lot when I'm playing Beogh. One of them is going to be TG. No, this should be recall. We don't have that yet. That macro will become recall, but I'm going to do one on A for TG, which is to guard an area, and one on 2, which is for follow me. Wrong thing. To follow me. Okay, and we'll save those. I don't remember what ability button recall comes on. Anyway, but so I use that macro now. I say follow me. We're fighting these guys in a choke point now rather than fighting them all at once. And now we can get our Orcs to help us out in a much more safer manner. Our Orc Warrior got hurt there, which can happen sometimes. But what tends to be the case is when enemies have a choice of hitting you or one of your allies, they will almost every time choose to hit you. Wow, okay, so that guy actually did get killed. That's amazing. He twice just got killed by a yak. Okay, well that's really unfortunate for him. Alright, so now we just have a wizard and a priest. That's okay. We'll go back upstairs. We'll go back upstairs soon and we'll see if we can get that orc warrior. I want to have at least one orc warrior or one regular orc, preferably two, before I head into lair. This is a ring of protection from fire. Okay, we're going to keep that. That means we can now have a point of RC and a point of RF, which is great. Staff of Earth would be exciting if this were 2 to 3 days ago. So if you watched the last one and if you've watched me do Zot anytime recently, I've been using the Staff of Earth to boost the power on Lee's rapid deconstruction and then blow open the wall of Zot. No longer possible. So LRD, Lee's rapid deconstruction, lost the deconstruction bit. It no longer destroys walls, which is a bit sad. It means that we no longer care about that. Oh boy, this is interesting. We no longer care about that Staff of Earth. So this is a funny vault where you have a Swamp Drake, and he's going to confuse everyone. We're all going to become confused, and we're all going to stumble around and hit each other. The really dangerous thing is that if you're near the deep water, he can drown your allies. So I could... Okay, never mind, we're okay. I was thinking I could smite him to try to stop the nonsense that might happen here, but it's not a big deal. I could save our priest here by retreating him away. What's happening is this orc warrior has cleave on his axe, so he's hitting both of us. I'm going to do that. I don't really care too much about the priest, but we may as well call him back to us. And now we have a warrior, and he's got a plate armor, so he's going to be much more survivable than the other ones we had before who died. Let's keep walking out. And then we'll fight this guy. He converted too. Alright, this is good. Both these guys have axes. That's nice. Fortunately not axes that we want ourselves, because if one of those guys had an axe of flaming, I might have been very tempted to, I don't want to say kill him, but maybe put him in a situation which he would find difficult to survive. It's not quite the same thing. Anyway, we still don't have a lair yet, so we're going to keep going. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell these guys to guard this area, and then we're going to go back upstairs and see if we can get the orc warrior. If we're ready. Oh, Trident of Flaming. That's another good polearm to potentially give an orc in the future. So the question is, where was that orc? I think he was on this floor, D8. He's up one more. He's on D7. Alright. Along with this wyvern zombie. He's over here. Alright. We don't want to use the War Axe of Venom. We discussed that already. Okay, I'm going to yell a bit. Shift X Control F to forget the floor, and then we're going to scope around again. Alright, there he is. Did not convert on sight. Did not convert as he died. Bummer. That's okay. We'll go pick up our orcs again, tell them to follow us, and we'll continue on. More throwing things, silver tomahawks, an assorted antique shop. There is an artifact halberd that we're going to mark. That could be something, that could be another amazing polearm that we want to give to an orc in the future. Other things here that not excite me, but at least interest me. The bronze wand and the marble ring. The ring could be protection from poison, maybe. Poison resistance, rather. This one could be a bunch of very useful things. But what I'm going to do is not buy them immediately. I'm going to wait. When you have one shop on a floor, you're likely to have multiple. So rather than spend all our gold on a sort of mediocre item, we're just going to wait. Okay. We've got a troll, it's alright. I'm going to step forward so that our orcs can help us. We've also got a... Oh, our guy's going to die. He stepped in and got poisoned. We've got a hornet. So we're being slowed. I'm not as afraid now because what I can do is step behind my orc and... Well, he's poisoned, so he's just going to tick out. This is a D11 ugly thing, which is really early and dangerous. You see he's marked as red. So we're going to bust out the smite. We've been training it. We've got almost 8 evocations. So we can just hit him with the smite. Our orcs gave one last attack, and then we killed him. And the poison has worn off on our guy, who also got healed. So that's really good. Again, the two-headed ogre is kind of scary, but what I can do is start walking back. Okay, I was hoping that he would follow us, but our orc warrior stepped in front. So we're going to smite again and again. Alright, we kill him. The play I was hoping to make is that... Oh, there's a manticore. Alright, another really scary enemy. Another red one. So again, we're just going to smite him. When you have smite, you can just kill everything. Let's go back upstairs and heal. Wait, we got a frog. Now we got a porcupine. It's all happening here. All these monsters, I think, are sort of guarding the lair entrance vault. But the play I was hoping to make is that, similarly to monsters choosing to attack you, they will mostly also choose to follow you. So let's say, how would I set this up? Let's say we're exactly like this. We are standing here and the monster is standing there. If I then choose to step back onto this tile, what's likely to happen is rather than just the monster spending his turn attacking our orc warrior, he's likely to chase us. So let's say he then chases us onto the tile we're currently standing on. As it makes that move, this orc warrior will get to hit it, and these two will also get to hit it. So you can basically kite the monster along your allies, in which case they're getting free attacks and you're not being punished for it, or you're not actually taking damage, because the monster's not actually attacking you, it's just chasing you. So that's a cool tip. Switch to our Whip of Elect so we don't poison that orc. We didn't. So I made a little play here. I'm not going to point it out explicitly every time because I'm going to do it a lot. It sort of becomes second nature. But what I did here is stepped out of this line from my orcs to be here. And the reason I did that is because the acid dragon has an acid spit. And this happens with any enemies that have bolts. So fire giants, dragons when you see them, anything like that. You want to make it such that the monster can't bolt you and all your orc followers at the same time. So by stepping here, if he's going to bolt us now with his breath, it's going to go like this, and it won't hit any of our orcs. So they're all going to be safe from it. Alright, he didn't bolt anyway, but like he could very easily one-shot and kill at least our orc priest with a bolt. But by that one little movement there, you're going to keep your orcs alive. New book, it has blink in it. That's another spell that we're going to immediately learn. Much like Apportation that we found earlier, we're not going to be casting this for a very long time, but in the extended game we absolutely want to have the ability to blink. We reach level 12, we're going to get more int so that we can cast in the early game. Hungry ghosts are really annoying. They hunger you, but they basically do no damage. Our orc followers do not care about being hungered, so I'm going to let them deal with the annoyance. Alright, he's going to kill our priest. No, he's not. See? Beogh, such an OP god. His war axe is distortion. Oh god, okay, well he's going to be a really annoying follower. He's going to blink enemies around. We might have to deal with him. I don't know. Maybe we could keep him alive long enough that... Oh, look at this army. we got heaps of dudes now. Alright, well, this is going well. Okay, now our damage is going to go insane now that we've got an Orc Knight. So Orc Knights have the ability to do Battle Cry, which mites all your other orcs. So a monster that's mited does 150% damage. What was the one we picked up? I don't think we... What was the one? Oh, it was random effects. Okay, we ignored it. Alright, so yeah, once you have these guys, you get 50% more damage from your army. And what's really cool is that, oh, I keep hitting the distortion guy, it's making me do a force more. When you have multiple Orc Knights, they start miting each other. So it's really cool. We've got even more Orcs coming. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Orc Warrior with the Halberd. That would have been a good guy. Oh, okay. Well, there was a Centaur who came in behind and started mopping dudes up. We lost our Orc Priest. That's okay. He wasn't named. We weren't attached to him yet. There seems to be an unseen horror here. So I'm just swinging by holding control. When we see him like this, I can very easily smite him, but I'm not too worried. He might kill some of our plain orcs. Not really a big deal. Got it. Alright, good. An artifact chainmail. Let's ID that. +1 chainmail of RC. That's strictly inferior to the +2 chainmail of RC that we're wearing. And read this scroll. It's vulnerability. Alright. More ID. It's going to be a while until we can gift items, so I'm not in a hurry to identify the slimy longbow. So we're just going to do our potions. It's a potion of flight. We don't have any evocations, so the lightning rod is not too exciting. Note that we do now have 2 Orc Knights, so these guys are going to mite each other. Alright, we've hit 4 pips of piety, so we now can recall stuff, which is on B. So this macro is going to be AB. So we've now got a recall macro. Let's eat. Check this hatch. Yep. Okay, and then how many? We've got too many orcs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the way that I like to run around with my orcs is that I don't like to run around with the whole army at once. First of all, you're then splitting experience between all of them, so it means that they level up slowly. Secondly, the more orcs you have, the more unruly it gets, and the harder it is to manage them, the more likely they are to die. I much prefer to run around with somewhere between 2 to 4 orcs and train them up as a group, and then once they become warlords, I leave them and I start training a new team, basically. And then if there's some sort of bad situation where we need to recall all our orcs in, then we'll pull in the whole army. But otherwise, I don't really want that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell them to guard this area. I'm going to head into lair, and then I'm going to call, I think 4 sounds about right. So I'm going to start the recall, and then what happens is every turn, 1 or 2 orcs will come in. So we can wait another turn. We got 3 more, so we got 5. That's okay. I don't mind having 5. And then we can stop the recall by using the ability again. So rather than having 8, come back here. They're killing stuff without me. They're too eager. But yeah, rather than having 8, we can have 5, which is a bit more manageable. Alright, 5-headed Hydra. So this would be terrifying, and in some senses it is. We can always smite it to death. Unfortunately, all our dudes are at the back. The Orc Knights are at the back. I was going to say, once you've got Orc Knights and Warriors, they'll just kill the Hydra for you. Well, yeah, they probably still will. We have a Whip of Elec. We can start fighting it. If we're going to die, we'll step behind our Orcs and we'll just smite it to death. Okay, that worked. New book. Nothing in there that we want for the extended game. Alright, but this is the point at which Beogh is at its strongest. We've got multiple orc, well, not quite its strongest because we haven't started gifting them weapons yet, but it's at this point that Beogh becomes very strong. We've got a decent amount of invocation, so we can kill pretty much anything we want with Smite. And that's how you should think of it. It's the, I want something on my screen dead immediately button. And he's very good at that. But in addition to that, we have multiple Orc Knights who are all going to be miting each other. And relative to the enemies that we're fighting now, they're just going to crush them. Like, we don't have to do anything. Oh, I thought that was I didn't realize that was a split hallway like that. I said ooh because it surprised me, not because I was worried or anything. It was like, oh, that's weird. I don't even remember what I was saying anymore. Let's check out this new ring. Curse Ring of Loudness, no thank you. That one? Yeah. Put back on our Ring of Protection from Fire. I don't know. The point I was just singing Beogh's praises basically. At this point in the game, you are extremely strong because your orc followers, they're gonna kill stuff and you don't have to do anything. This is kind of where I was talking about the shield being really good. Look, I can demonstrate it to you. I'm just gonna hit the wait button. I'm gonna sit here. Look, we're blocking attacks. We blocked one of them anyway. And the crocodile dies. Erica is here. She's killed one of ours. There's a scimitar of flaming, so we lost one of our orcs, not a big deal. We could pick that up if we were worried about Hydra heads, but we're not really. So I'm not going to bother. But yeah, we can do very little and it doesn't matter. Enemies are still going to die. And then you add in the fact that we have an axe with 15 axe skill. Yeah, we are extremely strong right now. We just found a portal to an ice cave. We can put on a second or a ring of protection from cold to give us a second pip of RC. We're not going to need fire in there. So the orcs can't follow you in, that's okay. They'll still be there when we come back out. You can't recall them in either. So we're on our own here. There's a chance that Beogh might gift us orcs here. At 4 pips of party, that's unlikely. But what's always fun is you go into a portal, Beogh gives you some orcs as followers, which he can do by the way. He's technically a gifting god. And then you can take them out again, so he basically gives you a bit of a top up on your army. Let's not fight the statues at the same time as an ice devil. With 2 pips of RC, I'm not really too afraid of this, and not really afraid of being in here at all. So what's usually the scariest thing about these ice caves? Usually it's the boss at the end. It might be 2 ice dragons, it might be an ice fiend, it might be a frost giant. All of those enemies we can just smite to death. No problem at all. Potion of Resistance, well if we want a 3rd pip of RC, we can get that too. Yeah, we've got 2 scrolls of enchant armor. I'm not really in a hurry to enchant any of these things up. They're not too exciting. This is the ending that might have an ice fiend. Note that we have a throwing net, good to know. I'm probably going to quiver that. I'm not going to bother with throwing javelins etc. at enemies so much now. See, there we go. We got a gift of orcs. It's great. But yeah, this is potentially the ice fiend end, but I don't care because we're just going to smite it. I'm going to check these side bits first because there are going to be ice devils in here. We'll kill all of those guys before we go to the treasure room at the end. Other side now. Nice, so now we're going to have 3 Orc Knights when we go back out. Alright, here we go. It can be a Necromancer, but possibly is a Fiend. It is the Necromancer. He picks up 3 scrolls of enchant armor. I thought the whole thing about enemies is they never pick up items that you've seen. I guess he did it the turn we saw it. A shiny plate armor might be one of cold, so that's cool. We can fight him. I'm not as afraid of him as I am with a Fiend. He can agony us, which is like Torment, but we have a ring of protection from magic. So he's only got a 30% chance to hit us. And his bolts of cold or potentially fire are nowhere near as scary as an Ice Fiend. I said that we won't ever need RF in here, but I lied, because Necromancers might have it. If he hits us with one and it really hurts, we'll just smite him to death. And again, I'll point this out every now and then, but I've stepped in such a way that he's not going to hit us and our orcs with a bolt. rather than fighting him in the door with an orc behind us, by stepping here he can only bolt us. Alright, artifact things that we should pick up because we might want to give them to orcs. The Scorched Quarterstaff, less so. I'm not too excited about that one. And we're going to test this shiny plate armor. +5 ponderousness, no thank you. I don't want to be slow, not worth it, even the extra AC. Alright, so the way that you generally gift to your orcs is, if they don't have a polearm, give them a polearm. If they have a one-handed polearm, give them a shield. If they already have one of those two things, you can give them some sort of good armor or a ranged weapon. So the reason I'm picking up these artifact bows and artifact hand crossbows is because they might make for good ranged weapon gifts. And then let's get out of here. The loot really wasn't that exciting. Why does the ice devil, why do the enemies keep killing our orcs? This is not the way that I'm used to this. Alright, so we've got 3 orc knights now. We have some identify now. We'll just do our potions. I'm not really in a hurry to test out these crossbows and longbows. I'd rather wait till we have an ID scroll. They could be, I don't think you can get distortion longbows, but they could be contaminated. They could have other bad properties. They could have draining. Oh yeah, that hurts. So we'll just kite back behind, alright, we killed one. Anyway, we kited back behind our orc. That's unfortunate, we lost one of our 3 orc knights. Not a huge deal. Again, not named yet, so we're not attached to our orc knights yet. So we're not going to shed a tear just yet for these unnamed ones. But it is kind of unfortunate that Hydra took out the guy. But that's okay, because it wasn't us. I mean, you might argue that a bad messiah is one who sacrifices his orcs to live himself, when my understanding is that the messiah is supposed to die for the followers, but we can overlook that. It's a game with permadeath. There's no resurrection for the player in this one, so it's okay. We're alive. The orc is dead, but we live. We have rolled shoals in this run, which is very good. It is a trove of polearms to give to your orcs, which is fantastic. The other thing is that swamp, which you can get instead of shoals, is extremely dangerous for orc followers. In fact, I'd recommend that you do not ever take them into swamp unless they have our poison. That's because they get confused by swamp drakes and then they just drown. And it's a very sad time. But we got shoals, so I'm happy about that. It's safer, and we're going to get lots of good weapons to hand out. Look at this go. We've got more centaurs around. New ring. There's a crocodile somewhere. Okay, this one is poison resistance. Excellent. Okay, very, very good. In fact, no, I'll keep carrying the ring of protection from cold, but I'm gonna go into a, no, I'm gonna do that either, never mind. Ignore everything I just said. But poison resistance is very good for us here in Lair. Lots of poison enemies. If we really need it, we'll switch to our ring of protection from fire, but from regular Lair enemies, it shouldn't be too much of a big deal. If you want to play really optimally as a Beogh player to try to keep your orcs alive, what you can do is, let's get some friends to help us out there. Come on, guys. Oh, so one of them's already got an arbalist. But what you can do is tell your friends to guard the top of the staircase. You can come down, you can sort of explore around a bit, see that it's safe for them, and then be like, okay, yeah, it's fine. Coast is clear, now follow me. I'm not bothering, but that's what you would do if you want to be super optimal. And then of course, if you really, well, we'll see it later, we also got Spider, which is fine. In fact, that's pretty good for us because most of the spiders are susceptible to poison, and we have a War Axe of Venom. So that's going to be very strong in there. Yeah, the point I was making, we'll see it later, but an extremely powerful, maybe even broken thing with Beogh is stair pulling enemies. So you can always do that too on a new floor, is guard your enemies on the floor above and then pull enemies up to you. I'll show it off later and you will understand how broken that is. I mean, stair dancing is pretty busted normally, just in crawl, but when you have permanent followers, it's extremely busted. We should still pick up unknown magical staves. We might find a wizardry one. Really drop it here. Because the Staff of Wizardry might help us in extended casting in heavy armor. That's layer 3 done. Alright, on to layer 4. Let's not starve. Here's an Oclod plant. I want to yell at my orcs to follow me because I don't want them to run in and just die to the acid. I could just smite it, but we could also just ignore it. New amulet we're going to put on. Magic regen. Don't care about that. And we're going to do one of the longbows. It's a +0 longbow, but it's venom and it's RLX, so that's not a bad weapon for an orc to have. Oh, I just noticed that Aqua, the orc warrior, has been named, and we have 5 pips of piety, so we can actually gift to him. So what has he got? He's got a ranged weapon. Oh, I see an artifact axe too. But he doesn't have a melee weapon. So we're going to gift him a polearm. So you can gift items to an orc once per game, so you only get one. But because he's got a double-handed weapon in the form of a arbalist, I'd actually rather give him a 2-handed polearm. We've definitely seen halberds. I can't remember. We can do a search for polearm. I don't think we've seen any glaives. No, we could even give him a Sigmund scythe. But anyway, I'm not going to do it now. We'll do it when we find one later, but I'd rather just give him some sort of halberd or something like that. This Scorched War Axe, I really want to wield it, but if it's distortion, it's going to be a pain. So I'm going to wait for an identify scroll. We have 6 enchant weapon scrolls. If we could get a broad axe, we could have a +6 broad axe. Scroll of Torment. Sorry. An Aqua? Okay, so he's been upgraded to an Orc Knight, and he's been gifted by Beogh a flail. Unfortunately not a polearm, so the flail is not so great. We want him to have reaching. I guess we could just give him a polearm. Yeah, a trident, random trident. We'll give him a trident. Alright. Means, okay, so Aqua gets a trident. He can now reach from behind us. He's going to be much more effective at fighting now. Look, he can stand back there and actually be useful. Unlike this unnamed Orc Knight, who's standing back there with an axe and not helping. Wand of Digging, very good to have. Wand of Flame, less good to have. I'm just going to drop it. If there's any time where we're going to be pinging stuff with Wand of Flame shots, we'd probably be better off just smiting it. More acid, very good. Also another throwing net. Alright, there's the ID scroll. So we're going to do the Scorched War Axe. It's a +4 War Axe. It's a protection axe though. Protection as a brand is, I find, very mediocre. While having some extra AC is great, it just tends to do no damage, and then we don't care about our poison or RF because we have both of those already, or at least we can get them. What am I dropping? Did I drop it? Yeah, okay, I dropped it. Now I'm trying to drop other stuff. So say you had Swamp, this isn't a poison axe. That might be one way that you could bring an orc follower with you in, and then they're not going to die to the swamp drakes. Alright, let's go. Let's start smiting. No, we're okay. Alright. We had a better layout there where our other orcs were able to assist us with the Hydra. And we have picked up LRD, which is sadly no longer useful. But Pass Wall is one that I want in the late game too. So I'm just going to start learning all these spells that we potentially want to use later on when we're heading into extended territory. Yeah, there's no point in having LRD at all. No longer destroys walls. That was a cool spell. No longer. It's kind of, I said this in a comment to someone, but it's the downside of me showing you the secrets that the devs don't want you to know. Showing you those tips and degenerate tricks is that occasionally word is going to get out, and when that happens they're probably going to nerf the thing. So yeah, it's teaching you all to abuse LRD with no earth magic skill training to blow open Zot every time. I guess they didn't like that so much. Oh, on to layer 6. That's not going to stop me. I'll keep showing you those tricks. We've met Rupert. We also met an Orc Knight who's friendly. He must have been shafted to get down here. Right, let's XP Rupert. His paralyze isn't too much of a high chance because we have a ring of protection from magic, but 29% paralyzed chance is still very high. And he has a vampiric battle axe. If there's anything that makes me want to switch from a shield, it would be that, but I would still rather just stick with the shield. But the thing to note about him, okay, thank you. The thing to note about his battle axe is if he goes berserk and he's cleaving with his axe, he's going to kill all our orcs around us. So I'm not too afraid of the paralysis because even if we get paralyzed, our orcs will keep fighting. But I don't want to get paralyzed and then he kills everyone. So we're just going to smite him. We're going to use our kill anything on the screen button, and then we just keep hitting him with it, and then he just dies. And that's it. Any monster in the game, that's how you kill them. Works on Orbs of Fire, works on Panlords, works on Fiends. As you're going to see, very, very strong ability. I see sometimes people play, oh, he had a shiny chainmail, we're going to check that out. But I see sometimes people played a Beogh game and they didn't train invocations and they barely use smite, and I just scratched my head because that ability is so good. It's so good. Shiny chainmail, +2 poison resistance. It's sort of, it doesn't make much of a difference here whether we want to have a chainmail or poison resistance and the ring of protection from cold or vice versa. So we'll just stick with what we had, stay with the status quo. Although again, note that I'm going to carry it with us. A chainmail or poison resistance is a good armor to give to an orc, especially with swamps so they don't drown. But we happen to have Spider's Nest, so that's going to stop some orc from being poisoned so often. Okay, it's just using beam while I'm playing. Thanks. Alright, so let's ID the second slimy longbow. It's +1, it's RC minus, and it's velocity. This one I don't want to give out. Giving a vulnerability to your orc is just going to make them more likely to die. I don't really care about those Ugh to bad wiki. Does Berserk give monsters more HP? I'm still not clear on that. I believe so. Alright, another new amulet. We're going to keep trying these. I would love to find an amulet of faith. I really like amulet of faith on Beogh. This is a +7 hand crossbow of the Lek. That is sick. That is so sick that I'm half tempted to train crossbows for that one. I think we might, because this gives us a really good... yeah, I think we might actually, but not for a while. I'm going to drop that. If I ever forget, scream at me. but this is really good to have in the extended game because it gives us a ranged option that's still one-handed, so we can keep using a shield, and it's going to be a lek while giving us extra int to help us cast. So this is amazing. Alright, well, I'm glad I picked that up. See some trees. This might be the forest one that has a bunch of spriggans. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's fine. Not too worried about those. The most dangerous things in here are often the boggets, but there they are. We can always smite them. Excellent. We have a high priest, and we have a few more guys have been named. So we now have Hall, or Hal. Hal is probably better. Hal of Moving Castle fame, and Thorok. So we're going to give to both of those guys. We can't. We're at 4 pips of HP. Oh, piety. Okay. Well, as soon as we hit 5, we'll gift those guys. I'm just going to walk this Hydra around, and as he's chasing us, he's dying. He's taking shots, and he's taking shots, both melee and ranged. Don't care about Snog because we have so much DPS. Even if she goes berserk, all our orcs are just going to kill her. Alright, for this guy, let's hit him with a couple of acid bolts as he approaches, and then one more turn should kill him. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. This is a little bit scary, but it's fine. Again, with orc followers, you can always step behind your orcs at any time if you're dying. So it means you can drop to levels of HP that would be much less comfortable because you can always step behind them to get some time and space and then smite. Our orc priest has been summoning demons. It's pretty cool. Embroidered boots, just +2. That's nice. It's an extra 1 AC. Okay, good. Okay, we're going to sleep. That really hurt. There are way too many things here. What I'm going to do is step back. I'm going to smite the more dangerous ones, which are the Spriggan Riders and the Boggets. Because my orcs don't really care about the Dream Sheep. If we step back there behind the orcs are going to fight while the Dream Sheep are trying to sleep us. Similar thing. Let's see, I don't want them to die to the Hornet either, so I'll step back in. Alright, good. Again, it looks much worse than it is. Like, we're on 30 HP, looks like we're about to die, but in reality we're not. Because we can just step behind our orc friends. And I notice we've got 5th pip of piety again, so we can start handing out weapons. Okay, so AC. Hal has a hand axe of chopping and a +1 plate armor, so he can have the +3 trident. And Thorok has 8 bolts and an arbalist and a flail, but no armor. I'd rather just have him with a polearm as well. Again, he's already got the arbalist, so it makes more sense to give him a 2-handed one, but for the sake of just giving him one right now, we'll give him the trident of flaming. Cool. So now we have 3 orc knights with polearms, so they can all might each other and then they can all hit from behind. Very exciting. A new book. That was a Book of the Sky that has Summon Lightning Bolt in it. Lightning Bolt. Well, that's pretty much what the spell does in effect, but it's Summon Lightning Spire. We might want that in the late game. We probably are going to want Silence in the late game, and we're definitely going to want Deflecting Missiles in the late game. That's a very handy book that we just found. It's one of my favorite things. We couldn't see it there, it was just saying something, But I love it when your orcs just decide to start killing plants. There's something about it is really funny to me. It's just like, get this one fungus in particular. Let's go. See, they joined the fight. The priest summoned a demon. It was a particularly tough mushroom. Everyone's getting mited. Everyone's pumped for the action. What was really funny is that there was a brief time where the gods all got reworked to be more accepting of things that they accepted as kills to give piety. And there was a brief period of time where you could run around killing plants and Beogh would accept your kills. It's great. It's like you kill the bush, Beogh accepts your kill. That was a heretic bush. Oh dear. Alright. Anyway, that's our lair done. So normally what we would do next is we would head into Orc. But on my Beogh characters, I like to put that off a bit. So how likely you are to convert depends on your piety and your experience level. By delaying it until at least when you have 6 piety, you're going to convert more orcs. And there's another reason. When you have 6 piety, you get the resurrection ability. So if you kill an orc that didn't convert and it leaves a body, you can resurrect it. That's really handy to have heading into the orcish mines, because there's a decent chance that you're going to meet things like orc warlords and so on. And if they don't convert, you want to add them to your army. So I really like to be 6 pips of piety before doing it. So instead, what we're going to do next episode is we're going to finish off dungeon. If we make it to 6 pips of piety at any point, I might duck into orc. But until that happens, we're going to put it off. So that's it for now. Hopefully see you back next time.